You're watching the Community MMA.
I was relying on the stats last night when I looked at this robbery. And it's a robbery because Sean Strickland dominated in head strikes, right? He led in significant strikes and then dominated 2-1 in head strikes against Cannonier. And Cannonier, not a lot of control time to speak of in this fight. Basically had leg shots and body shots, and that carried him to victory. Now, how the final judge went 49-46 is beyond me, but that's the way that this thing turned out. Let's get into the live reaction last night again. I missed most of the fight until the very end and was completely going off the stats, which we do anyway. Man, Jared Cannonier and Sean Strickland headed to a decision after a wild fight. It's all over 238 significant strikes landed. Now, Sean Strickland led 122-116, so it's very close heading into this decision, but the reality is Sean Strickland dominated in head strikes. I mean, when you look at it, it's 109-53, which makes no sense because the significant strikes were very close. But it was Cannonier who's landed a lot of leg shots, 27-1. Figured it would slow down Sean Strickland. It did not. And who knows how much credit you give for those, but the head strikes are always most important. But what's more important than anything is round by round. And we had some close ones. And here we go with the decision. Ooh, this is big for Sean Strickland. Cannonier gets the first one. Strickland's pissed. Strickland got the second. Split decision. 49-46. Wow, Sean Strickland is pissed. Wow, 49-46 on the third. I don't get it, man. Sean Strickland and Cannonier shake hands, but Cannonier is going to get the win. But wow, I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it because, and y'all let me know what you think, but Sean Strickland, 109 head strikes to 53. More than double. Strickland had a takedown, 48 seconds of control, no big deal. I mean, this is a stand-up striking affair. But Cannonier was landing power shots to the body and to the legs, which a lot of times a fighter doesn't get credit for as much as the head strikes. And when you're Strickland and you're dominating in the head strikes, forget about it. But that's the way this thing goes down. Cannonier holds serve, middleweight division, UFC Fight Night. Yeah, so that's the way it went down, complete robbery. And then oftentimes, following the fight, the stats are updated. It got even worse for Cannonier, or for Strickland, however you want to look at it. But it was 152-141 Strickland in terms of significant strikes. So he led there. Then headshots, 126-57. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? 126-57, nearly 3-1 ratio, and he still loses the fight. He even had a takedown. So how you give this 4-1 Cannonier is completely beside me. And, many people were saying we got to go to the live scoring, which means you can just see the judges' results as the fight goes on. The fighters would see it too. Sean Strickland still goes into round 3, losing the fight, right? He's still down 3-1. It wouldn't have changed very much. Maybe he goes for a finish, who knows? But the bottom line is if you have or they call that an open scoring, I believe. What I'm looking for, and it's amazing we say this every week because there's a robbery every week, is a full-out point system and then get rid of the judges. Because if you go to a point system here, Sean Strickland dominates because the head strikes are going to be worth more than the leg kicks or kicks to the leg or any type of shot to the leg or to the body. The head strikes are going to outweigh that, and Sean Strickland would have absolutely dominated this fight if you have a point system. But instead, he gets the loss because 2 judges said he lost 4 rounds. And how do you justify that? This isn't one that's close in the numbers. It's complete domination in the stats by Sean Strickland. And he should be number 3 in the world right now in the middleweight division. But instead, he gets robbed. And what are you going to do about it? There's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it in this situation. So we'll continue to talk about a point system, not open scoring, not live scoring, which a point system would be live scoring, but an actual point system like in any other sport on the planet. Boxing is different because you have 10 rounds, 12 rounds, 15 rounds, whatever. 3 rounds, 5 rounds, it's not enough for the judges to have an effect on the fight. We need a point system. So you had some other good fights last night, right? Sarukian dominated Demetrius Magulov. You had that. That fight wasn't close. A lot of fights that went to decisions last night that weren't close was just sheer domination on the ground. Like Renat Fakhrinov dominated Brian Battle. The whole fight was on the ground. But as we creep down in the main event, you had a big one here between Drew Dober and Bobby Green. A lot of trash talking by Bobby Green about Islam Makhachev and others. Well, he should have been focused on his opponent because this is what happened to Bobby Green last night. Drew Dober coming in now. Looking more like a bull, continues to move forward. Oh, and Bobby Green lands a nice kick to the body. 2:25 left. Bobby Green a little wobbled now after taking the left. Bobby Green still swinging though, landing a left and a right. Oh, big shot by Dober. Finishes Bobby Green with the left and another left. And Bobby Green's checking with the ref saying he's good, but he's not good. I don't think he realized what happened. Bobby Green saying why. And the ref kind of laughing it off because I think he realizes too that Bobby Green didn't even know what happened. Yeah, when you get a excuse me, when you get a look at the replay, you see Bobby Green took the left. He went straight down like he was out of it. And then you had Drew Dober coming in with a hammer fist that was partially blocked by Green. And if the ref lets it go, Bobby Green just gets demolished. And if you're Bobby Green, you go out for a second, you come right back to, you don't really know what happened, and you're upset with the ref. But the ref made the great decision to stop the fight. Now, after the fight, Drew Dober called out Jalen Turner, a guy who is on a 5-fight win streak but has been plagued by injuries as of late. So is that why he's calling him out? I don't know, but you would get a great fight here if they're both 100%, both guys on major win streaks. So that was a really good call out by Drew Dober, and we'll see what happens. Now, as you creep down this card, you had Alex Caceres fighting last night, a guy that I really enjoy fighting because he was 14-12, and I said he's a different fighter than his record, and he's shown it with like winning 6 of the last 7, but the run continued. Well, here's how it went down. And Caceres moving really well here in round 1. Is GCJ having trouble kind of getting those touches in? And Caceres, we talked about him in the past, looks like a completely different fighter here. Big left kick to the head. And Caceres is pounding away now, and it's over. Yes. Yes. And as I was getting ready to say, this guy looks like a completely different fighter over the last 7-8 fights. I think he's won 6 of the last 7. At one point, he was 14-12. Now he's 21-14, I believe. But man, Juicy J's having trouble getting back to the corner, and this thing ends in a hurry. So you remember, let me explain this first of all. You got guys that are coming up like a Raul Rosas Jr. right now, or a Hamza Chimaev, or hopefully a Bo Nickel, who are just good right from the beginning. Then you have others like Charles Oliveira, who was 11-8 in the UFC. No one took him serious. That was until he went on an 11-fight win streak and captured the toughest division in the UFC, the lightweight division. So you have guys that peak later in their career. That's what Caceres is doing right now. Now, I'm not saying he's a Charles Oliveira. I'm just saying he's a guy to keep an eye on, because now that he's hit full stride, he's starting to win. And not only is he winning, he's winning big, man. I mean, the guy is winning big. So that's kind of how it went down last night. You also had wins by Amir Albazi by KO, Mikhail Alexichuk, KO Cody Brundage. Then you had Corey McKenna by decision, Matthew Semmelsberger decision, Saeed Nurmagomedov, a big name on the card last night, submitted his opponent. And then you had 4 other decision wins by Rafa Garcia, Renat Fakhrinov, Manel Kape, and Sergey Morozov. So a lot of decisions last night, 6 finishes, but all in all, not a bad night for the UFC.